I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy, wait.
Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical, and today we are going to discuss my newest design. And really, we've done it again. We have done it again at Bone Tactical and just changed the game. This is gonna be quite the hype. They do take a long time to produce, 100% handmade, hand forged and handmade. And I'm gonna introduce to you right now, for the first time ever, the Bone Kogatana. Now, this is the world's strongest and most effective fighting knife ever designed or produced. It is absolutely impressive. It's the perfect balance between strength and effectiveness, and the perfect balance between modern materials and modern technology merged with artisan quality, old school, handmade production techniques. So what we've got here, I'll just go ahead and break it down for you, is 100% solid 5160, and 5160 is just crazy tough steel. It's thicker than any combat knife that I've ever heard of or seen. I don't think there's any combat knife on the market this thick, but it's not extremely heavy. And the way that we managed to do that, I decided to make a fully skeletonized handle. Solid one piece. There's nothing on here that can break. It's just solid of one of the toughest steels ever made. Modern metals, 5160, just crazy tough, crazy strong, holds a great edge, but also field sharpenable. It's just a great steel. It doesn't have incredible corrosion resistance, but we've coated it with powder coat that does have incredible corrosion resistance. So you could drop this thing at the bottom of the ocean and none of the blade would be able to rust in years, except this little tiny edge there. So the only thing that you even have to keep clean is that little edge. You can just wipe it off on your shirt when you're done using it, put a little bit of oil on there every once in a while, and you'll be fine. It will develop a patina with time, but that's what you want from a blade. So talk a little bit about this here. Why is this such an effective fighting knife? Okay, we talked about why it was strong. It's strong because of the type of steel, the fact that we do everything in-house. We forge this ourselves, handmade. We check it for stress fractures. We know that it's made one piece of solid steel, of some of the best steel that you can get, toughest steel, and it's so thick and so heavy duty. That's why it's the strongest effective fighting knife. It is also the most effective because of the grip, the balance, and the blade. All right, it's the perfect size, not too big, not too small, but supremely usable. Okay, this recurve here means that it slashes incredibly well. The Japanese style point from here up is like a traditional tanto or kogatana. That's why we're calling it the Bone Kogatana. It was inspired by a very small hidden knife that the samurai used to carry. And now, as our primary weapons have changed in the modern world to firearms, we still need a small, maybe hidden, maybe not hidden knife, depending on if you're military or not. If you're military, it doesn't have to be hidden, but it could still be hidden a lot of times if you're special operations or something like that, undercover in some way, then you would want still to be hidden. So not much has changed in the way of the warrior. It's still a backup blade, and now it's just our most effective modern backup weapon for the modern warrior. The handle has an incredible grip here where this index finger notch, it has what would be the equivalent of a full fighting guard. So the hand will not slip up when stabbing. And then this index notch here and all of this heavy duty jimping will allow the knife to remain steadfast in your grip. Even if your hands are wet or bloody, it won't be pulled out of your hand. We've added a cool little thing here in the back for adding a lanyard or a piece of string if you wanted to, depending, even if you were in extremely hostile environments or climbing or possibly diving, you might want to tie a little string onto it and make sure that the knife, if dropped, isn't lost. There are some environments where you want to do that. So we made sure that we added a place for that to where it would orient towards the pommel always. And the pommel is not sharp, it's solid metal, so you can use it for striking, but it's not sharp, which allows us to drive through and hammer through if we are in mount, or if we have to use both hands to power through and stab, maybe puncture through a chest plate or something like that, top of the head, into an eyeball, eye socket, something like that in a mounted position. A lot of times, you know, when you've got somebody fighting for their life and you're just trying to slam down with one hand like this, that pressure isn't enough. Sometimes you got to break through that defense and smack a little bit, and you don't want to injure yourself. So we don't ever put sharp pommels on the back of our knives, because they're just ultimately, that's why, another small reason why these knives are the most effective in the world that we make as fighting weapons, because it is what it is. And all of these little small details like this add up to one great, incredible weapon. It's a compilation of just like anything in the world, it's a compilation of all the small details. All of these marks you see here are hammer marks, forge marks from the forging process, right? And then from there, we just forge the solid piece of steel, and then we go through with hand files and we shape and chamfer every area. So it has incredible grip, but it's a balance between incredible grip and then being smooth. So even if I had to use this every day for bushcraft tasks and stuff like that, it still wouldn't give me blisters because there's a chamfer on all of the corners and edges. So this jimping is actually part of the hammer forging process, so that adds a little bit of grip there. And then obviously these large cutouts here that we do with hand files are also very good forms of jimping. The skeletonized interior looks the way it looks mostly for aesthetics. It just looks super awesome and BA, but it also is the ideal balance between the handle and the blade itself. The sheath has retention, so it clicks in as a sheath should. It won't fall out on its own. It doesn't require a second point of retention, but if you want a second point of retention, you can add one or we can add one. That would be a special order item at this point. We do ship it with a IWB belt clip, but it's very easily attached to a plate carrier, backpack, chest rig, anything like that. And any kind of a 3/4 on center, which is the standard for clips, buckles, hooks, loops, any kind of attachments. Everybody and their brother makes attachments. If you don't like this, you can buy another one and it'll fit the sheath. So really, as I said, just a game changer. The only downside to this knife is they take an extremely long time to produce, and I just am not able to produce that many of them that fast, so they're going to be very hard to get. I hope you guys get a chance to get your hands on one. They now all come with a certificate of authentication, so make sure that you have my signature on the certificate of authentication that is sealed in an envelope with a bone wax seal, okay? That I'm the only one that has a seal. So if it's not sealed, don't accept this knife, okay? If you don't have the certificate of authenticity and it's numbered, the certificate of authenticity is numbered. That's the only way that you can know it's real if you're not an edged weapon enthusiast. Otherwise, you can tell just by looking at it, because no one else has the capability of producing such a high-end edged weapon. You can see just by looking at the knockoffs that they're knockoffs. But if you aren't savvy on blades, then we have added that certificate of authenticity in there for you guys as well. Thanks for watching. Bone out.